Alright, so Salman, I'm looking at what you did and I noticed that, so I'm just going to take this thing out. This is where you kind of stumbled upon. I noticed that if this is what I added, so I'm going to take that out. This is what I saw in the file when I came in. This is what you did, and I save it and I run this to see what money was running, and what I see is, oh, where is it? This is. So, Baba, black sheep, have you animals? Okay, so when I run that, Salman, I notice that this is the error you come across, right? It says this dot a data dot response. So now the problem is you're having this because you copy pasted the code that I created for a Vue.js file. This is not that. So for this one, we need to, for example, here we're saying this dot draw marker. How would it know that we're talking about this dot draw marker? This is not a Vue file. This is simple JavaScript file. So you need to define. Well, it doesn't understand what this is. So you need to have like simple things. For example, array dot location markers is an array. So you have to define it here on top. That variable. Let's say array JSON markers. So this is your array. Then if you have another variable that you want to use across the page, and that's what else we have? Array location markers, and I guess that's it, right? Okay, so you define this here, and then this is also wrong. Init map, okay, when Google API is loaded, init map is called, so you did this part right. Maps, okay, zoom 3, and you gave it a lat long of 3232. And then I ask you to load the file using, so you're loading using the data, this dot load data. That's also not needed. All you gotta do is just call load data, and it's gonna call this function, this JavaScript function. But you gotta always name the functions in that style. Alright, so load data, it's gonna load the data, and in that you're making the right call to this, and it's throwing back the feature collection file. But so it's here, till here everything is fine, but this is where you do things wrong. Variable array data set equals to fine, but response data.response at record set, this was for the other thing that we had. For this one, we're not following the same. Remember, we created our for the GeoJSON collection feature file to return, we were using MySQLi and not the other regular way we had. And in that, the moment it throws the data, it starts with, let me show you what I mean. It starts with, so if you want to understand this, you need to understand this. Okay, let's just do this, right? I'm gonna uncomment all of it. First thing first, you want to do console.log. Okay, if all is going fine, remember I had asked you to use those status text and all those things. You did not use, so you got to use that. What do I mean by that? It was this thing. This is fetch response status. You need to look at it before you go to data. Alright, this thing, remember that. This is important. So what this thing does is, once you did the response, after that, what we were doing was we were saying that don't move on to response.json before that, do that. And what this checks is that if the status is 200, which is okay, so you can say that. If it's not okay, you can say that fetch call failed, right? Fetch call failed, and you can respond that, or if you can in fact show the entire response in the console, right? And return the function, which means get out of the function, right? It will not perform anything after that. Now, if that was successful, then you want to parse the data out of this response that you receive from Fetch API, and you want to pass data onto this function. It will extract the data from the response. You just want to look at this data. So if I save it here, and if it is successful, it will come all the way here, and here it's gonna throw this data in console. So let's have a look at it again. Alright, there you go. You saw this here, right? Which means it came up, the data came up as feature collection. Now going back, you can also show here that if this is successful and it did not fail, then you can console.log and show here that fetch call successful, data received. Alright, now comes the part where you want to do this thing. Now, array data set for now, there is no response in it. It's just data, and after that, if you look at it, what you have is an array of features, and this is what you want. So instead of data response, it will come as features, right? For variable x and features, then what do you want is the first thing you want is you refer to record. So data.features.x, and the loop represents a record, and record.coordinates. Nope, it's not record.coordinates, it's record.geometry. And just to make sure that you can go to this one always, and here you can see that features by geometry.coordinates. Okay, so yeah, this is exactly what you need. Let me show you here as well. So you are in the first feature record and you want coordinates, so what you will do is you will do this record.geometry.coordinates, right? And you will get the coordinates. Then in the coordinates you have two values, if you recall. First value is your lat. Second value is your long. You have this. Now all you gotta do is this latitude, longitude, this is correct. So it is pushing all these values in this array data set, push all this going. Now here it was crashing because of this, you were using this. Well, it's not that anymore. It's simple JavaScript file that you're working on. So this will turn to this. So now that variable is updated, and you want to call draw markers, so you can just say draw markers. Draw markers is called, and here you want to, for this in this dot array location markers, no more this dot array. It will be like this, array location markers, and then here as well. So current item equals to this, marker is equal to new Google Map marker. Position equals to current item, this is this, dot coords, map equals to this, dot maps. I guess you are good, if I'm not mistaken. So if I save it and refresh this, okay. Alright, what happened? What are you doing wrong? Okay. So we got to see that if your draw markers is called or not. So this seems correct. You want to know if draw markers is called. Is there call data receive? Now drawing markers. So let's see once again. If our Okay, so it does say now drawing markers, but none of the marker is drawn. So what's happening? Alright, so help us understand what's happening. Okay. So once you have these markers, which you already have above here, okay. So you already have this here, and you're trying to draw a marker. You have stored your coordinates as lat long. No. Okay, so this is what it's trying to tell you, that no, you don't need to go all the way there. All you gotta do is, once you have your coordinates, you can create a marker within that, and lat long is basically a Google Map lat long object. So it's not like coordinates lat long. Okay, so what it's saying is so you need to define first lat long. You did not define the lat long here. So what it's saying is that, okay, so this is what you missed here. So you were supposed to do lat long, let's suppose, and you were supposed to do new Google map.lat longs, and you were supposed to provide this value here like that. And in this one, coordinates 0 and coordinates 1, that will be your current item. And what's in your current item? In the current item, you're basically using this one, and in that there's just this data set, and in that you have lat and long. So this will be lat. I hope I'm not wrong here. I think I'm correct, but you did not. Well, by the way, we did not need it to do that, to go all this way, because we could have done the same thing up here and added the markers, because we are going through the features one by one. And what you want to do is just add marker one by one. So this is an additional step, but still it should work like this as well, not a problem. Let's do that. So you have now your lat long, and all you gotta do is here you have to define oh, sorry. Okay, let's call it object lat long, so you define object lat long at position, yes, and map is equals to this dot map. Why are you saying this dot map? Why are you saying this dot map? You can just define the map here, so you can just referring to that map. That's fine. Alright, did you use this dot map somewhere else as well when you drew the map the first time? No, you did not. Oh, look at this. What are you doing, money? So you can call it. Okay, let me fix that then. So this is an object Google map, alright? And this is what you need to assign here as well. So this is object Google map, then you want to load data, alright? So your data is being loaded from that fetch API. After that, okay, data is loaded, and you have all the coordinates. You are going through the coordinates, and you could have just drawn the marker there, but anyways, so you store them in an array, and then you went to draw markers function. What is that? You gotta fix these things, money. This doesn't look good from programming perspective. So this is if a response, and this is starting here, this is ending here. What is that? What is this representing? Okay, this then what is this? This is your function ending. If this is your function ending, why the hell this function is starting here? Pay attention, money. Alright. Now, Where were we? Okay, so you're storing it in. I changed the I to object Google Maps, and here you're not doing anything, you're just loading the data. Data loading now, you're drawing the marker, and the map you want to say object Google Map, alright? And save goes for this. Rather than object lat long, we're going to say object Google lat long, alright? And you could have done this a different way as well, but let's for now, and this is object Google marker. Google marker. So basically, you're iterating through this array which has many coordinates in it, and you're going through by one coordinate at a time, and you're saying create an object Google lat long, assign it this lat and this long LNG that I see here, there, and then variable object Google map Google marker, new Google marker, position this and assign it on the map. So what I was saying, you could have done this thing differently. You could have just done this thing rather than here. You could have just done it here. It's much simpler, so you don't need to go through this draw markers. But it's okay if you have stored it in an array first and then did it. That's fine. So if I run it now, it should work fine. I gotta fix this. Your formatting is not good. You gotta work on this thing. Okay, so I am here now, and I look at, boom. Let's see what goes on here. Okay, what happened now? Still no markers drawn. What could be the reason? It is going into the now drawing marker. Let's do this. Let's not go inside there and do this whole thing that we are doing here, this whole gig. Object Google Map. Now let's try to do it here. So what we're doing is records feature this, coord 0, coord 0, coord 1, object lat long new. I really want to see this latitude and longitude, so I'm going to say that console.log, and I'm going to say now I am going to create a Google marker with lat, and then I want to show what is the lat value, and then end with long, and then I want to show what is the long value, and I want to close it here, and then this. So I want to say, okay, I want to see the latitude, and I want to see the longitude value, and I want to do this, and yeah, Google Maps lat long, current item. No, it's not going to be current item anymore. It's going to be this latitude, and this is going to be longitude. So I am creating Google. This is how it goes. It requires two values. One is latitude, the other one is, oh, it's the other way around, longitude and latitude. It's, see, you store them in, so it's not picking up the, okay, so it's, okay, but let's see, it just draws the marker. We can figure this thing out later. So if we look at this Google marker, this is this, and did you do the marker correctly? Yes, position lat long and map, and map is Google object Google Map. Okay, there could be one more reason for this, Salman, that I'll explain you what I meant by that. Alright, so when we save this, if this still doesn't work, I think I would have an answer to that. Alright, so it doesn't go inside the... So you notice that it's not printing this thing. So why is it not printing this thing, that latitude and longitude? Because we selected feature, right? And what is this feature? So there you go. One S missing. So it was a list of features, not feature. So I selected features now. And what happened? Data.feature is undefined. Alright, of course, data.features. I was supposed to select features. I did feature. Fixed another place where it should have been features. Refreshed. Come on, boy. There you go, your markers are now showing up. Oh, only 2 markers in your feature file. Let's see. Features, yes, there were 2. It's showing both of them. So there you go, it's working now. So I guess that was a problem. You could have still done the way you wanted to do, was through that array thing that you were doing and calling that in markers. Okay, let's do that as well. So once again, you can do it like this, or you can do it like that. I did this. I'm just gonna get rid of this thing here. So this was your code, and lat and long and this and that, a Google map, all is good. So now we'll use the draw marker to draw the markers, and all should be good, I guess. Now drawing markers. Oh, it did not work. It did not work. Anyways, the way it worked, I wanted to just use that because I don't have time for this right now, but you know, it's working fine, not a problem. And I suspect the problem would be this thing, Salman, that what did I do this for? Yeah, problem. Hang on, let me clear this thing out. You don't need this draw function. So the problem would be, Salman, that we simple problem, not. So this is your working code. You load the data. Once the data is loaded successfully, you go through all the features, and from those features you pull out the lat long, and then you start drawing markers on the map. So it keeps on going through loops and keeps on adding markers to your map. And there you have a working of it. 23 minutes, so I guess we're good. So I'm going to stop this video, and this was your lesson for today. Thank you.